Antonio Brown in his prime was the most dominant wide receiver this league had seen in a generation.
Arguably the best wide receiver in all of football. That Antonio Brown.
And there goes A.B. Wow. Antonio Brown, look out. He's got it. He's got it.
I've never seen a combination of route running, hands, and competitive fire quite like what he brought to every single game. Literally every week, there was a catch he would make that would stop you cold and make you think, this guy is completely untouchable.
Antonio Brown is gone. Clark, end zone, touchdown, Antonio Brown.
And the only way this story ends with the talent he possessed is with a Hall of Fame bust in Canton in his jersey hanging in Pittsburgh forever. But instead, his career ended mid-game, shirtless, jogging through the end zone at MetLife Stadium to wave goodbye to a crowd that could barely believe what they were watching.
Antonio Brown, which Bruce Arians announced at the post-game press conference, he is no longer part of the team.
Coaches who have worked with some of the greatest receivers who ever played this game believe Brown stands alone in terms of pure receiving ability during his peak.
Anytime you can add a player of this caliber, and we're talking Hall of Fame caliber, that's a good thing.
And yet the tragedy is that Brown's undoing was never his talent. It was everything else.
He should be ashamed of himself.
He's a team destroyer.
He is the kind of player I would never, ever want to play for.
Allegations overnight against NFL star Antonio Brown, accused of sexually assaulting a woman who worked as his trainer.
Tonight, Tampa police say they're trying to arrest former NFL player Antonio Brown, making multiple attempts outside this home to execute an arrest warrant for battery domestic violence.
Uploaded a team letter detailing his fines. Reportedly, he and Mayock got into a heated exchange in practice, with Brown threatening Mayock.
You expect to see Antonio Brown in the NFL again.
Hours-long standoff between NFL star Antonio Brown and the Tampa Police Department.
Moving truck driver who was allegedly assaulted by NFL legend Antonio Brown.
This is the tragic story of Antonio Brown's career. As the son of touchdown Eddie Brown, a wide receiver who became the greatest player in Arena Football League history with the Albany Firebirds, Antonio Brown came into this world with football already in his DNA. He grew up in Miami, Florida, the product of a broken home.
I come from areas where guys get killed, the drug dealers go to jail.
His father was largely absent from his life, and Brown was raised primarily by his mother, Adrienne. The streets of Miami were not kind, and the instability of his upbringing would follow him in ways he perhaps never fully recognized. What he did have was an extraordinary gift, and from the moment he arrived at Miami Norland High School, it was obvious he was different. Brown played running back, quarterback, wide receiver, and punt returner for the Vikings, doing literally everything, and was a two-time Class 6A All-State selection while earning North Athlete of the Year at the 2005 Miami-Dade Gridiron Classic. Despite his exceptional high school career, the big-time programs weren't pounding down his door. He spent a year at North Carolina Prep Tech before finding his way to Central Michigan, where he walked on without a scholarship. Nobody was projecting Antonio Brown as a future All-Pro. Nobody was comparing him to Jerry Rice. He was a walk-on at a mid-major school trying to prove he belonged. But prove himself he did. In his sophomore year, he caught 110 passes for 1,198 yards and 9 touchdowns, a single-season school record that still stands. By the time he was done in Mount Pleasant, he had set the program's all-time record with 305 career receptions for 3,199 yards and 22 touchdowns, twice earning first-team All-American honors as a punt returner and helping Central Michigan to a school record 12-win season in 2009.
In his 3 years there, he averaged over 1,000 yards a season and set a school record for receptions, drawing the attention of NFL scouts.
He declared for the draft after his junior season, and the consensus from scouts was that he projected as a 5th or 6th round pick, nothing more. The Pittsburgh Steelers selected him in the 6th round with the 195th overall pick in the 2010 NFL Draft. He was the 37th ranked receiver on the board. On his very first NFL touch, a reverse against the Tennessee Titans in the season opener, he returned the play 89 yards for a touchdown.
Action coming up the right side. Here comes Antonio Brown, and he's at the 30, 35, 40.
Becoming the first player since Steve Smith in 2001 to score on a reverse in his NFL debut. Not bad for a sixth-round afterthought. Still, the Steelers had a crowded receiving corps, and Brown spent his first 2 seasons learning the league. Then, in 2011, something clicked. He posted 1,108 yards and 5 touchdowns, and gave Pittsburgh a glimpse of what was coming. In 2013, he went to another level entirely. 110 receptions, 1,499 yards, and 8 touchdowns, while becoming the only receiver in NFL history to record at least 5 catches and 50 yards in every single game of an entire season. Then came the peak. 4 consecutive seasons of dominance that rival any stretch any receiver has ever put together. In 2014, he led the entire NFL in receptions with 129, receiving yards with 1,698, and was tied for second in receiving touchdowns with 13, breaking all 3 of the Steelers' own team records in the process, and becoming the first Pittsburgh receiver to lead the league in receiving yards since Roy Jefferson in 1968. He came back in 2015 and somehow topped it. 136 receptions and 1,834 yards to lead the league again in both categories, setting a record for most catches in a 2-year span with 265. In 2016, he posted 106 receptions for 1,284 yards and 12 touchdowns. In 2017, he put up 101 receptions for 1,533 yards and 9 scores, once again leading the NFL in receiving yards. And then in 2018, he closed out his time in Pittsburgh with 104 catches, 1,297 yards, and a league-leading 15 receiving touchdowns, becoming just the 5th player in NFL history to post 100 or more receptions alongside 15 or more receiving touchdowns in a single season, joining Randy Moss, Marvin Harrison, Jerry Rice, and Chris Carter in that exclusive company. Over that 6-year stretch from 2013 to 2018, Brown averaged 114 receptions, 1,524 yards, and 11 touchdowns per season. To put that in perspective, his best 6-year stretch was compared favorably to Jerry Rice's best 6-year run. He made 6 consecutive Pro Bowls from 2013 through 2018 and was named a first-team All-Pro 4 consecutive years from 2014 through 2017. He piled up 837 receptions for 11,207 yards and 74 receiving touchdowns in 9 seasons with Pittsburgh, all while serving as the engine of one of the most consistent offenses in football. From 2011 through 2018, he was the most productive receiver in the league in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. The numbers were undeniable. The talent was generational. And the writing on the wall that it was all going to implode was there for years before it finally did. Because alongside every spectacular performance was a pattern of behavior that those inside the organization had been managing, tolerating, and quietly watching escalate for years. In January 2017, after a playoff win over the Kansas City Chiefs, Brown live-streamed the Steelers' post-game locker room on Facebook Live, including Coach Mike Tomlin's private comments about their next opponent, the New England Patriots.
Keep it low profile. Let's get ready to ball this up again here in a few days and be right back at it.
He was fined by the league. In October 2018, he faced lawsuits connected to an incident at his Florida apartment in which items were allegedly thrown off a balcony that nearly struck a 2-year-old child below. In November 2018, he was pulled over on a suburban Pittsburgh road, driving more than 100 miles per hour in a 45-mile-per-hour zone.
But the reason AB was caught and pulled over so quickly, it was more than just the speed.
In December 2018, he got into a confrontation with quarterback Ben Roethlisberger at practice and was deactivated for the team's final regular season game. By February 2019, the two sides had agreed to part ways. The Steelers traded Brown to the Oakland Raiders for 3rd and 5th round picks.
The Steelers reaching an agreement to trade the 4-time All-Pro to Oakland for a 5th round pick and a 3rd round pick.
And that's when everything fell apart completely.
I mean, I'm here to help the program in all regards. You know, I'm here to make guys better around me. I'm here to elevate everything around me. I'm here to just be a surge of energy, of positivity, and a good force, a great teammate, and bring out the best of everyone around me, because we all know it's not just about me.
Brown arrived at Raiders training camp in July 2019 in a hot air balloon, but couldn't practice because he had suffered severe frostbite on his feet by not wearing proper protective footwear during a cryotherapy session. He then waged a weeks-long battle with the NFL over his right to wear his old helmet, which had been discontinued and was no longer certified safe by the league's safety standards. He missed most of training camp, was fined $54,000 for missing practices and walkthroughs, confronted general manager Mike Mayock on the practice field in front of his teammates, and then on September 4th posted his fine notice on Instagram, publicly airing the team's internal business and daring his new employers to respond. The Raiders fined him an additional $215,073 for conduct detrimental to the team and voided the $29 million in guaranteed money remaining on his contract. On September 7th, after fewer than 2 months in Oakland, Antonio Brown was released without having played a single game for the team. The New England Patriots, the Super Bowl champions, signed him the same day for up to $15 million with a $9 million signing bonus.
It's extremely real. A 1-year deal for Antonio Brown with the New England Patriots. Yes, actually, the New England Patriots. It's a 1-year deal worth up to $15 million.
Tom Brady reportedly called him personally. Brady even offered to let Brown stay at his home while he got settled. It seemed like the reset he needed. The circus would be over under Bill Belichick. It lasted 11 days. On September 10th, Brown's former trainer Brittany Taylor filed a federal civil lawsuit accusing him of sexual assault and rape on 3 separate occasions in 2017 and 2018. A second woman came forward days later with her own allegations of sexual misconduct. And when threatening text messages Brown allegedly sent to one of his accusers became public, the Patriots released him on September 20th, after he had played exactly 1 game for the franchise. He had 4 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown against Miami. That was the end of his time in New England. Brown posted on Twitter that he was retiring from football on September 22nd, then changed his mind 4 days later. It didn't matter. Nobody came calling. In January 2020, he was charged with felony burglary with battery and 2 misdemeanor counts in connection with an attack on a moving truck driver in Florida. He pleaded no contest and was sentenced to 2 years of probation. In July 2020, he was suspended for the first 8 weeks of the 2020 season for multiple violations of the NFL's personal conduct policy. He had touched rock bottom. What saved him, temporarily, was Tom Brady again. Brady pushed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hard to sign Brown, and they did on October 27, 2020, for a 1-year deal. He was reinstated from suspension in November and rejoined the offense he knew. On February 7, 2021, when the Buccaneers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 55, Antonio Brown was on the field, catching 5 passes for 22 yards, including a touchdown that pushed the game out of reach. For one afternoon, on the biggest stage in football, he was the player he had always been capable of being. He re-signed with Tampa for another season. Then the familiar chaos returned. In December 2021, he was suspended 3 games for misrepresenting his COVID-19 vaccination status. And then came January 2nd, 2022. Late in the third quarter of the Buccaneers game against the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium, with Tampa Bay trailing 24-10, head coach Bruce Arians tried to put Brown into the game. Brown refused. Twice. Arians told him to get out. And so Antonio Brown, 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro, winner of a Super Bowl ring, stripped off his jersey, his shoulder pads, his gloves, and his undershirt. He tossed his gloves and shirt into the stands. He jogged shirtless to the end zone, did some jumping jacks, waved to the New York crowd, and disappeared into the tunnel. He never played another down of football. Arians' 4 words after the game said everything. He is no longer a Buck. Tom Brady asked for compassion in the post-game press conference. He said he loved Antonio Brown and wanted to see him get help. Those words carried a weight that went beyond football. Because the tragedy of Antonio Brown isn't that he lacked talent. He may have been the most talented receiver of his generation. It isn't that he lacked opportunity. He had more second, third, and fourth chances than most. The tragedy is that whatever demons followed him out of Miami, through the Pittsburgh projects of Mount Pleasant, up through 6 years of being the best at his craft, never let him go. He finished his career with 928 receptions for 12,291 yards and 88 receiving touchdowns. By the numbers, he is one of the greatest receivers who ever played. The Hall of Fame eligibility will come, and the debates will be fierce. But the cleats, the highlights, and the records will always share the room with everything else. Antonio Brown will forever be one of the greatest what-if stories in NFL history.